Weak men are not born, they are created. Created slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Not by tragedy, not by war, not by suffering, but by something far more dangerous: comfort. A life that asks nothing from them. A life where everything is easy. Easy entertainment, easy pleasure, easy distractions. Every day, millions of men wake up not to build something meaningful, but to scroll endlessly through the lives of others. They watch success, they admire discipline, they talk about ambition, but they never act. And slowly, without even realizing it, they become weaker. Not physically, but mentally. Their focus disappears, their discipline fades, their confidence collapses. They start doubting themselves. They fear rejection, they fear failure, they fear judgment, and eventually they stop trying at all. But here is the truth that most people will never tell you. Weakness is not permanent. It is a condition of the mind. And like any condition, it can be cured. Thousands of years ago, long before social media, long before modern self-help, long before the distractions of the digital world, there were men who understood something powerful about the human mind. Men who lived through war, through chaos, through political betrayal, through unimaginable pressure, yet they remained calm, focused, unshaken. One of those men ruled the most powerful empire on earth, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Imagine the weight of that responsibility: armies to command, nations to govern, enemies at every corner. Yet instead of chasing pleasure, instead of seeking comfort, he spent his nights writing reminders to himself. Reminders about discipline, about resilience, about controlling the mind. Another man, Epictetus, began his life as a slave, a man who owned nothing, no wealth, no power, no freedom. Yet he became one of the most influential teachers in history, not because of status, but because of his mindset. And another philosopher, Seneca, advised emperors while constantly facing political danger. He knew that power could disappear at any moment, so he trained his mind to remain calm even when everything collapsed. These men followed a philosophy that most people today have forgotten. A philosophy that doesn't promise comfort, it doesn't promise easy success, it doesn't promise happiness without effort. Instead, it promises something far more valuable: strength, mental clarity, control over your own mind. This philosophy is called Stoicism. Stoicism is not about suppressing emotions, it is about mastering them. It is not about avoiding hardship, it is about becoming stronger because of hardship. It teaches a man how to remain calm when the world is chaotic, how to remain focused when others are distracted, and how to remain disciplined even when motivation disappears. In a world full of noise, Stoicism teaches silence. In a world addicted to pleasure, Stoicism teaches discipline. And in a world full of weak minds, Stoicism builds unbreakable men. In this video, we are going to explore the mindset that turned emperors into philosophers, slaves into teachers, and ordinary men into legends. And if you truly understand these principles, they might change the way you see yourself forever.
The world has never been more comfortable than it is today. Food is available everywhere. Entertainment is endless. Information is instant. And yet, millions of men feel more lost than ever before. They feel tired without doing meaningful work. They feel anxious without facing real danger. They feel empty even though they have access to things previous generations could only dream about. So the question becomes, why is that? Because comfort, when it is not controlled, slowly weakens the human mind. For most of human history, survival demanded strength. Men had to face harsh winters, they had to hunt for food, they had to defend their families and communities. Life forced them to develop discipline. Courage was not optional, responsibility was not negotiable. But today, things are different. The modern world offers endless escape routes from responsibility. When life becomes uncomfortable, instead of confronting the challenge, many men simply distract themselves. They open another app, they watch another video, they scroll through another feed filled with other people's lives. Hours disappear like this, days disappear like this, and eventually, years disappear like this. The tragedy is that most people don't even realize what is happening to them. They believe they are simply relaxing, but in reality, they are slowly training their minds to avoid difficulty. The human mind is like a muscle. If you challenge it, it becomes stronger. If you avoid challenge, it becomes weaker. And the modern world makes avoidance incredibly easy. Every notification is designed to capture your attention. Every platform competes for your time. Every algorithm is engineered to keep you scrolling just a little longer. Before you realize it, your focus is gone. Your discipline fades. Your ability to concentrate disappears. A man who cannot control his attention cannot control his life. Another problem modern men face is the constant need for validation. Approval from strangers has become more valuable than self-respect. Many men measure their worth through likes, comments, and attention instead of asking themselves one simple question: am I becoming stronger today than I was yesterday? This constant search for approval creates fragile minds. When people praise them, they feel confident. When people criticize them, they collapse. Their emotional state becomes completely dependent on the opinions of others. The Stoics warned about this thousands of years ago. The philosopher Epictetus once said that if you want to improve, you must be willing to appear foolish in the eyes of others, because growth often requires doing things that most people don't understand. Another silent problem is comparison. Today, every man is constantly exposed to the success of thousands of other people. Luxury cars, perfect bodies, expensive lifestyles. But what most people forget is that they are only seeing the highlight reel of someone else's life. Comparison destroys gratitude, and when gratitude disappears, nothing ever feels enough. A man who constantly compares himself to others will never find peace. No matter how much he achieves, there will always be someone who appears more successful. This is why the Stoics focused on something radically different. Instead of competing with the world, they competed with themselves. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day that the only true competition is between who you were yesterday and who you are today. Another modern problem is the obsession with motivation. Many men believe they must feel motivated before they act. They wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait until they feel ready. But motivation is unreliable. Some days you will feel inspired, many days you will not. And if your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Stoicism teaches a very different approach. Instead of chasing motivation, Stoic men build discipline. Discipline means doing the work even when you do not feel like it. It means waking up early when comfort tells you to stay in bed. It means training your mind to act based on purpose, not emotion. Because emotions change constantly. Purpose does not. This is the difference between a weak mind and a strong one. A weak mind reacts to every emotion. A strong mind observes emotions, but refuses to be controlled by them. The philosopher Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Many of the fears that hold people back exist only in their minds. Fear of failure,
fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment. These fears stop countless men from pursuing their goals. But the Stoics understood something powerful. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. Courage means acting despite fear. The modern world may create comfort, but it also creates distraction, and distraction is the enemy of greatness. A distracted mind cannot build discipline. A distracted mind cannot develop resilience, and a distracted mind will always struggle to achieve meaningful goals. This is why Stoicism is becoming increasingly relevant today, because in a world full of noise, Stoicism teaches clarity. In a world addicted to comfort, Stoicism teaches resilience, and in a world full of fragile minds, Stoicism builds strength. Understanding the problem is only the first step. The real transformation begins when a man learns how to train his mind, and this is exactly what the Stoics dedicated their lives to mastering.
If there is one idea at the heart of Stoicism, one principle that has the power to completely change the way you experience life, it is this: there are things you can control, and there are things you cannot. Most people spend their entire lives worrying about the second category. They worry about what other people think of them. They worry about the opinions of strangers. They worry about outcomes they cannot guarantee. They worry about the past. They worry about the future. And by doing so, they waste enormous amounts of energy on things that are completely outside their power. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus explained this idea more than 2,000 years ago in one of the most powerful lessons ever written. He said that some things are up to us and some things are not. What is up to us? Our thoughts, our actions, our choices, our effort, our discipline. And what is not up to us? The opinions of others, the behavior of other people, random events, unexpected problems, the final outcome of many things we attempt. Yet most people reverse this completely. They try to control things they cannot control and neglect the things they can. Imagine two men facing the same challenge. Both apply for a job. Both work hard to prepare. Both attend the interview. After the interview, one man becomes consumed with anxiety. He constantly asks himself, "What did they think of me? Did I say something wrong? Do they like me? Will they choose someone else?" His mind becomes trapped in endless speculation. The other man follows a Stoic mindset. He asks himself only one question: did I do my best? If the answer is yes, he moves on, because he understands something powerful. The outcome was never fully under his control. The Stoic mindset removes unnecessary suffering by focusing only on what is within our power. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, your mind becomes lighter. You no longer waste energy worrying about every possible outcome. Instead, you concentrate your full attention on the only thing that truly matters: your actions. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that external events are not the problem. Our judgment of those events is the real problem. Two people can experience the same situation, yet react in completely different ways. One sees an obstacle, the other sees an opportunity. One sees failure, the other sees a lesson. The event itself is neutral. The meaning we attach to it determines how we feel. A weak mind immediately reacts with frustration, anger, or fear. A trained mind observes first and responds calmly. This ability to step back before reacting is one of the most powerful skills a man can develop. Because life will always present difficulties, unexpected problems, criticism, rejection, failure. These things are inevitable, but suffering is often optional. A Stoic man does not expect life to be easy.
Instead, he prepares his mind for difficulty. When something goes wrong, he does not waste time complaining. He immediately asks himself a better question: what can I control in this situation? Maybe he cannot control what happened, but he can control his reaction. He can control his effort moving forward. He can control how he learns from the experience. This shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of feeling powerless, he becomes focused. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, he becomes disciplined. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, he becomes responsible for his response. Responsibility is not a burden, it is power. The moment you accept responsibility for your reactions, you take back control of your life. This is why Stoicism produces strong individuals, because it teaches a simple but transformative idea. Focus on what you can control and accept everything else with calmness. This does not mean becoming passive. Stoicism does not encourage weakness or surrender. Instead, it encourages intelligent effort. You work hard, you prepare, you act with discipline, but you detach your peace of mind from the final outcome. Because once you have done your best, the rest is no longer in your hands. This mindset creates an extraordinary kind of freedom, a freedom that many people never experience. The freedom of focusing entirely on your own character, rather than constantly reacting to the world. Once a man understands this principle, he begins to see life differently. Problems become training, criticism becomes feedback, failure becomes instruction, and slowly the mind becomes stronger. Because strength is not built by controlling the world, it is built by mastering yourself.
Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid difficulty. They want life to be easy. They want comfort. They want convenience. They want everything to go according to plan. And when life becomes difficult, when things go wrong, when obstacles appear, they immediately feel frustrated. They ask the same question many people ask during hard moments: why is this happening to me? But the Stoics believed this question was the wrong one. Instead of asking why this is happening to me, they asked something far more powerful. How can this make me stronger? The Stoics understood a truth that many people struggle to accept. Strength is never built in comfort. Strength is built through resistance. Think about the body. Muscles grow only when they are challenged. When you lift weights, when you push your body beyond its comfort zone, small tears occur in the muscle fibers. Those tears repair themselves. And when they heal, the muscle becomes stronger. The mind works the same way. Challenges strengthen it. Difficulty sharpens it. Adversity forces it to grow. Without resistance, there is no development. The philosopher Seneca once wrote that difficulties show a person what they are capable of. A man who never faces challenges never discovers his true strength. This is why the Stoics practiced something unusual. They intentionally exposed themselves to discomfort, not because they enjoyed suffering, but because they understood its value. Sometimes they slept on the floor instead of comfortable beds. Sometimes they ate simple meals even when they could afford luxury. Sometimes they exposed themselves to cold weather. Why would someone choose discomfort voluntarily? Because when you train yourself to handle difficulty, you stop fearing it. And fear is one of the greatest limitations in life. Many people remain stuck in situations they hate simply because they fear discomfort. They stay in jobs they dislike. They avoid pursuing their ambitions. They remain silent when they should speak. They choose comfort over growth. But comfort slowly weakens the human spirit. A man who always chooses the easy path never develops resilience. And when real hardship finally arrives, he is completely unprepared. The Stoics believed life itself was a form of training. Every obstacle, every setback, every difficult situation was an opportunity to develop strength. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this constantly. He wrote a simple but powerful idea: the obstacle is the way. In other words, the thing standing in your path is not blocking your progress, it is the path. Imagine a man trying to build discipline. If everything in his life were easy, if he never faced resistance, how would he build strength? It is the early mornings, the difficult workouts, the moments when you want to quit but continue anyway. These are the moments that shape character. This is where transformation happens. Weak men run away from difficulty. Stoic men run toward it. Not recklessly, but courageously. Because they understand something most people forget. Every challenge carries a hidden benefit. Failure teaches lessons. Rejection builds emotional resilience. Hard work develops discipline. Criticism strengthens character. A man who learns to face adversity calmly becomes extremely difficult to break. Life will always contain hardship. That part cannot be avoided. But how you respond to hardship determines who you become. You can allow it to defeat you, or you can allow it to strengthen you. Stoicism teaches us to choose the second path, because the strongest individuals in history were rarely those who had easy lives. They were the ones who faced enormous challenges and refused to collapse under the pressure. Every difficulty is an opportunity to practice patience, an opportunity to build discipline, an opportunity to strengthen the mind. The more adversity you learn to handle, the more unshakable you become. Once a man develops that level of mental resilience, very little in life can truly disturb him. This is the quiet power of Stoicism. It does not eliminate hardship. It transforms the way you face it. And when you learn to embrace difficulty instead of fearing it, you unlock a level of strength most people never reach.
One of the biggest misunderstandings about Stoicism is the idea that Stoic people are emotionless. Many people imagine a Stoic man as someone cold, distant, and incapable of feeling anything. But this idea is completely wrong. Stoicism does not teach you to suppress emotions. It teaches you to master them. Because emotions themselves are not the enemy. Anger, fear, frustration, and sadness are part of being human. The real problem begins when emotions control your actions. A man who cannot control his emotions becomes unpredictable. One moment he is calm. The next moment he explodes with anger. One criticism destroys his confidence. One rejection makes him give up. His emotional state constantly changes depending on what happens around him. In other words, his mind is not under his control. And if your emotions control your decisions, your life will always feel chaotic. This is why the Stoics focused so deeply on inner discipline. The philosopher Epictetus taught that people are not disturbed by events themselves. They are disturbed by the way they interpret those events. Imagine two men receiving criticism. The first man immediately becomes angry. He feels insulted. His ego reacts. He spends the rest of the day replaying the moment in his mind. The second man reacts differently. He takes a moment to observe his reaction. He examines the criticism calmly. If it contains truth, he learns from it. If it does not, he lets it go. His peace of mind remains intact. The difference between these two men is not intelligence. It is emotional discipline. Emotional discipline is one of the most powerful forms of strength. Because life constantly tests your reactions. People will challenge you. Situations will frustrate you. Unexpected problems will appear. In those moments, your response defines your character. A weak mind reacts instantly. A strong mind observes first. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius practiced this idea constantly. He reminded himself that anger rarely improves a situation. Instead, it usually makes things worse. When anger controls you, your judgment becomes clouded. You say things you later regret. You make decisions you would not normally make. Often the damage cannot be undone. Stoicism teaches us to create a small gap between stimulus and response. Something happens. Instead of reacting immediately, you step back for a moment. In that moment of awareness, you regain control. You choose your response deliberately. That brief moment can change everything, because emotional reactions often create unnecessary suffering. Imagine someone insults you. If you react immediately with anger, the conflict escalates. But if you remain calm, the situation often dissolves. Calmness has power. It disarms aggression. It demonstrates confidence. It shows that your emotional state cannot easily be manipulated. When you react emotionally to everything, you become predictable. Other people can easily influence your behavior. But when you remain calm and thoughtful, you become difficult to control. This kind of emotional stability creates a powerful presence. People trust those who remain composed under pressure. They respect individuals who do not panic when problems appear. They admire those who remain calm when everyone else loses control. Emotional mastery does not mean you never feel anger. It means anger does not control your actions. It does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear does not stop you from acting. The Stoics believed emotions should inform you, not dominate you. Think of emotions as signals. They tell you something about your environment or your thoughts, but they should never become your master. A disciplined mind listens to emotions, but does not obey them blindly. This is one of the most important lessons Stoicism offers. Because when you master your emotions, you gain something incredibly valuable: stability. The world may become chaotic. Circumstances may change. People may disappoint you. But your inner state remains steady. A man who has control over his inner world cannot easily be shaken by the outer one. This is the quiet strength Stoicism develops. A strength that does not need to be loud. A strength that does not need to prove itself. A strength that simply remains calm, focused, and unbreakable.
One of the quiet traps of modern life is the constant search for validation. Many people live their entire lives trying to gain the approval of others. Approval from friends, approval from strangers, approval from society. They shape their behavior around what others might think. They hesitate to speak honestly. They hesitate to pursue their ambitions. They hesitate to take risks. Why? Because they fear judgment. They fear criticism. They fear rejection. But the Stoics believed something very different. They believed that the opinions of others should never control your actions. The philosopher Epictetus once warned that if you want to improve your life, you must be willing to appear foolish in the eyes of others. This idea may sound uncomfortable, but it contains an important truth. Growth often requires doing things that most people around you will not understand. When you start waking up earlier than everyone else, when you stop participating in endless distractions, when you dedicate yourself to discipline and personal growth, some people will question you. Some may even mock you. Not because you are wrong, but because your actions challenge their comfort. And comfort is something many people defend fiercely. A man who constantly seeks approval becomes dependent on it. His confidence rises when people praise him. His confidence collapses when they criticize him. His emotional state becomes controlled by the opinions of others. This is a fragile way to live, because opinions change constantly. The same people who praise you today may criticize you tomorrow. The same crowd that celebrates your success may disappear during your struggles. Stoicism encourages a different source of confidence. Not external approval, but internal integrity. Integrity means living according to your principles. It means doing what you believe is right, even when it is unpopular. It means acting with discipline, even when nobody is watching. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly that the approval of others is temporary, but character is permanent. Character is what remains when attention disappears, when the applause stops, when the crowd leaves, when you are alone with your decisions. This is where true strength reveals itself. A Stoic man does not measure his worth through popularity. He measures it through discipline, through effort, through the quality of his actions.
This independence creates a powerful form of freedom. When you no longer depend on approval, you become much harder to manipulate. People cannot easily control someone who is not desperate to please them. You become more honest, more confident, more authentic, because your behavior is no longer shaped by fear of judgment. Instead, it is shaped by purpose. Imagine the difference between two individuals. One constantly asks, "What will people think of me?" The other asks, "Is this the right thing to do?" The first man is controlled by public opinion. The second man is guided by principles. Stoicism teaches us to become the second man. This does not mean ignoring all feedback. Wise individuals remain open to learning, but they do not allow criticism to destroy their direction. They listen calmly. They evaluate what is useful, and they discard what is not. A Stoic man understands that criticism is inevitable. If you attempt something meaningful, some people will disagree. If you pursue ambitious goals, some people will doubt you. If you develop discipline, some people will feel uncomfortable around you. This is normal, because when someone improves themselves, it often reminds others of what they are avoiding. The Stoics believed the solution was simple. Focus on your character. Focus on your actions. Focus on becoming stronger than you were yesterday. Let the opinions of others remain exactly where they belong, outside your control. Because the moment you stop seeking validation, you start building something far more valuable: self-respect. And a man who respects himself becomes extremely difficult to break.
Section 7. Stoic rule number 5. Discipline over motivation. Many people wait for motivation before they begin. They wait until they feel inspired. They wait until they feel energetic. They wait until the moment feels right. They tell themselves that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow they will wake up early. Tomorrow they will start training. Tomorrow they will begin working on their goals. But tomorrow arrives, and nothing changes. Because motivation is unreliable. Some days you feel driven and focused. On those days, working hard feels easy. But other days, motivation disappears. You feel tired. You feel distracted. You feel tempted to postpone everything. And if your progress depends on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. This is why Stoicism places discipline above motivation. Motivation is an emotion, and like all emotions, it comes and goes. Discipline, however, is a decision. It is the decision to act even when you do not feel like acting. It is the decision to move forward even when comfort tells you to stop. The Stoics understood that emotions are temporary, but habits shape character. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that he would face difficulties throughout the day. He expected challenges. He expected frustration. He expected unpleasant situations. But he did not allow those things to control his actions. Instead, he focused on doing his duty. This is the foundation of discipline. You act because it is the right thing to do, not because you feel motivated. A disciplined man wakes up early not because he feels excited every morning, but because he has trained himself to follow his routine. A disciplined man continues working even when the task becomes difficult. A disciplined man continues improving even when nobody is watching. This consistency creates strength. Think about the difference between someone who acts only when motivated and someone who acts with discipline. The motivated person moves quickly for a short time, but when the feeling fades, they stop. The disciplined person moves steadily every day. Slow progress, repeated consistently, becomes powerful over time. This is how real transformation happens. The philosopher Seneca wrote that it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Many people waste years waiting for the perfect moment. They wait until circumstances improve. They wait until they feel confident. They wait until they believe they are ready. But readiness is often created through action. You become ready by starting. The first step may feel uncomfortable.
The second step may feel difficult, but each step strengthens your discipline. Over time, the mind becomes trained. Tasks that once felt difficult begin to feel normal. This is the quiet power of habit. A Stoic man does not rely on bursts of motivation. He builds routines. He builds structure. He builds habits that guide his actions. Because habits remove the need to constantly decide whether or not to act. The decision has already been made. This is why disciplined people appear calm and focused. Their actions are not determined by how they feel in a given moment. They are determined by the standards they have set for themselves. And once those standards are clear, excuses lose their power. When you decide that something must be done, your emotions become less important. Comfort becomes less persuasive. Distractions become easier to ignore. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about returning to the path again and again, even when you stumble. Everyone experiences moments of weakness. Everyone faces days when progress feels difficult. But disciplined individuals do not allow temporary setbacks to define them. They return to the work. They continue moving forward. Slowly, this persistence builds something powerful: self-respect. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. You begin to trust your own decisions. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through. And this trust becomes the foundation of a strong mind. The Stoics believe that mastery of the self begins with small daily actions. Waking up when you say you will. Completing the tasks you commit to. Practicing patience when emotions rise. Each small act of discipline strengthens your character. And over time, those small acts accumulate. They shape your habits. They shape your mindset. They shape the person you become. A weak man waits for motivation. A Stoic man builds discipline. Because motivation may start the journey, but discipline is what finishes it.
At this point, something begins to change. A man who starts applying Stoic principles slowly becomes a different person. Not overnight, not through sudden inspiration, but through small daily changes in the way he thinks and the way he responds to life. At the beginning, he may still feel weak. He may still struggle with distractions. He may still feel controlled by emotions or fear. But now he understands something he did not understand before. He understands that his mind can be trained. Every time he focuses on what he can control, his thinking becomes clearer. Every time he faces difficulty instead of avoiding it, his resilience grows. Every time he refuses to react emotionally, his mind becomes stronger. And every time he chooses discipline over comfort, he builds confidence. Slowly, the transformation begins. The man who once avoided challenges now faces them. The man who once feared criticism now listens calmly and learns from it. The man who once depended on validation now stands firmly on his own principles. His mindset changes. His posture changes. Even the way he walks through life begins to change. Because inner strength always reveals itself outwardly. A Stoic man does not need to prove his strength through loud words. He does not need constant attention. His confidence is quiet. His discipline is consistent. His mind remains steady even when the world becomes chaotic. When problems appear, he does not panic. He observes. He thinks. He acts. When others lose control of their emotions, he remains calm. When others complain about circumstances, he focuses on solutions. When others hesitate because of fear, he moves forward with purpose. This transformation does not make life easier. Challenges still exist. Setbacks still happen. Criticism still appears. But the difference is that the Stoic man is no longer fragile. The same events that once overwhelmed him now become opportunities for growth. Failure becomes a lesson. Difficulty becomes training.
pressure becomes a test of character. This is why Stoicism produces such powerful individuals. It does not promise comfort. It promises strength. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius practiced these ideas while leading one of the largest empires in history. He faced wars, political conflict, betrayal, and constant responsibility. Yet his writings reveal a man focused on mastering his own mind. He understood that the greatest victory is not conquering others. It is conquering yourself. The same principle guided the teachings of Epictetus, who began life as a slave but became one of the most respected philosophers of his time. His power did not come from wealth or status. It came from discipline of the mind. These examples remind us of something important. Stoicism is not reserved for emperors or philosophers. It is a philosophy that anyone can practice. Every person faces challenges. Every person experiences fear, frustration, and uncertainty. But those who train their minds using Stoic principles develop something rare: mental resilience, the ability to remain calm under pressure, the ability to act with discipline even when emotions resist, the ability to maintain focus while the world becomes distracted. Over time, this mindset transforms the way a man experiences life. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, he becomes responsible for his responses. Instead of fearing difficulty, he sees it as a challenge. Instead of chasing approval, he builds self-respect. Instead of waiting for motivation, he acts with discipline. This is the Stoic transformation. A transformation that turns weakness into strength, distraction into focus, emotional chaos into calm control. And once a man reaches this state of mind, something powerful happens. Very little in the outside world can disturb him, because he has learned to master the only thing that truly matters: his own mind.
Stoicism does not promise an easy life. It does not promise comfort. It does not promise that the world will suddenly become fair. Life will still challenge you. There will still be obstacles. There will still be days when things do not go as planned. People will disappoint you. Situations will test you. Unexpected problems will appear. Stoicism does not remove these realities. Instead, it prepares you to face them. It strengthens the one thing that determines how you experience everything else: your mind. A man who cannot control his mind will always feel overwhelmed by the world. Every criticism will hurt him. Every obstacle will frustrate him. Every difficulty will feel like a personal attack. But a man who trains his mind becomes different. He learns to remain calm when situations become chaotic. He learns to stay focused when distractions surround him. He learns to act with discipline even when motivation disappears. This is the quiet power of Stoicism. It does not transform the world around you. It transforms the way you respond to the world. And once that transformation begins, everything changes. Problems stop feeling like barriers. They become opportunities to grow stronger. Criticism stops feeling like an attack. It becomes information you can evaluate calmly. Failure stops feeling like the end. It becomes a lesson that improves your next attempt. The Stoics believed that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your character, your discipline, your patience, your resilience, your ability to control your reactions. These qualities cannot be bought. They cannot be given to you by someone else. They must be built, day by day, decision by decision, moment by moment. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, your mind becomes stronger. Every time you remain calm instead of reacting emotionally, your character becomes stronger. Every time you face difficulty instead of avoiding it, your resilience becomes stronger. This is how transformation happens, not through sudden motivation, not through dramatic changes, but through consistent practice. The Stoics understood that greatness is not created through one extraordinary moment. It is created through thousands of small decisions made correctly over time. You may not control what happens in the world, but you always control how you respond, and in that response lies your power. This is why Stoicism has remained relevant for thousands of years, because the challenges of life may change, but the human mind remains the same. Fear, anger, desire, distraction, these struggles have always existed, and the Stoics developed a philosophy designed to overcome them, a philosophy built on discipline, a philosophy built on resilience, a philosophy built on self-mastery. The goal of Stoicism is not to become perfect, it is to become stronger. Stronger than your fears, stronger than your distractions, stronger than your impulses. When you reach that level of inner control, something remarkable happens. You become difficult to break. You become steady when others panic. You remain focused when others become distracted. You continue moving forward when others give up. This is what Stoicism offers. Not comfort, not easy answers, but strength. Because when your mind becomes strong, the world loses its power to shake you. And once you master yourself, very little in life can truly stand in your way.
If this message resonated with you, it means something inside you is already changing. Most people hear ideas like these, and they forget them the next day. But some people decide to go deeper. They decide to train their minds. They decide to build discipline. They decide to become stronger than the version of themselves they were yesterday. Stoicism is not something you understand in a single video. It is something you practice daily, through reflection, through discipline, through learning how to control your thoughts and reactions. That is exactly why I created a guide designed to help you apply these Stoic principles in your everyday life. It is built for people who want to develop a calm mind, stronger discipline, and real mental resilience. Inside it, you will find practical Stoic ideas, exercises, and lessons inspired by the teachings of philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca. The goal is simple: to help you strengthen your mind so that no obstacle, distraction, or difficulty can easily break your focus. If you want to explore those ideas further, you can find the link to the guide in the first link in the description. Take your time. Reflect on what you learned in this video, and remember something the Stoics believed deeply. A strong life begins with a strong mind.